Hello, friends. Welcome back. Imagine America plotting to invade its friendly neighbor. Not today, not now, but almost a century ago. The unthinkable was called War Plan Red. The world had just changed. America was flexing its muscles. Suddenly, everyone was a potential rival. Even old allies. They had plans for us. We had plans for them. Caught in the middle? Canada. You might think they were innocent bystanders. Think again. They were planning too. It was called Defense Scheme Number 1. With friends like these, the echoes of the Great War still reverberated across continents. A fragile peace settled uneasily. And amidst this uncertain landscape in the 1920s, America, Canada, and England, seemingly the closest of allies, bound by history and shared values, projected an image of camaraderie. Yet, beneath this veneer of friendship, a chilling reality brewed in the hushed corridors of their respective War Departments. Like three friends sharing laughs while secretly drafting wills that disinherited the others, each nation harbored clandestine plans for potential conflict against its supposed brethren. The United States, a booming giant flexing its newfound global muscle after the Great War, was particularly keen on future-proofing its security. Contingency planning was practically enshrined as a national doctrine, a way to navigate the treacherous currents of international relations. As one observer wryly noted, it was the bread and butter of American foreign policy, the default setting for advancing national interests. And amongst the rainbow of color-coded war plans meticulously drafted in Washington, one stood out with a particularly audacious target: War Plan Red. Red meant the British Empire and, by extension, its vast dominion to the north, Canada. Imagine this: the brass in Washington, figures like General Summerall, the Army Chief of Staff, poring over maps of North America. Their objective: to neutralize Canada swiftly and decisively should England ever become a hostile power. The linchpin of their strategy, a brutal opening move that chills the blood even in retrospect, focused on Halifax, Nova Scotia. This vital port, the gateway for any significant British reinforcement, was to be seized with ruthless efficiency. The chilling detail? The initial assault envisioned a swift and devastating poison gas attack, blanketing the city to incapacitate its defenders and prevent the Royal Navy from establishing a foothold. Simultaneously, specially trained units would race to sever the undersea cable linking Halifax to Britain, isolating Canada and crippling communication. Small airfields, deceptively disguised as civilian strips near the border, were quietly being prepared, like hidden daggers beneath a friendly handshake. This wasn't a casual brainstorming session. The Department of War was actively developing the infrastructure for a potential invasion. Across the Atlantic, in the hallowed halls of Whitehall, a different kind of calculation was underway. England, a seasoned global power with centuries of navigating treacherous waters, viewed the burgeoning might of the United States with a mixture of respect and apprehension. Their own contingency planning, while perhaps less overtly aggressive towards Canada, painted a stark picture of strategic realism. Faced with the prospect of a full-scale conflict with the United States on North American soil, the British concluded that defending Canada against the overwhelming resources of their former colony would be a protracted and ultimately futile endeavor. Their assessment was brutally pragmatic. Committing significant forces to Canada would be an unlimited land war where the advantages of time, distance, and supply would overwhelmingly favor the Americans. The cold calculus led to a startling conclusion. In the event of War Plan Red becoming reality, Canada might have to be sacrificed. Instead, England's strategic thinking leaned towards a different approach. Their own plan for dealing with the United States, though perhaps less formally codified with a catchy color, focused on exploiting America's vulnerabilities in its far-flung possessions. The Philippines, a strategic outpost in the Pacific, became a key target. The logic was clear. Rather than engaging in a costly and likely losing battle for Canada, England would strike at assets vital to American interests elsewhere, hoping to leverage these holdings for a more favorable negotiated outcome. It was a bold, almost callous, strategy that implicitly acknowledged the potential abandonment of their loyal dominion. And what about Canada? caught in the middle of this bizarre dance of potential aggression between its two closest allies. Far from being passive bystanders, the Canadian military strategists, under the leadership of figures like Brigadier General James Sutherland Brown, harbored their own audacious, if perhaps somewhat quixotic, plan, Defense Scheme Number 1. Embracing the maxim that the best defense is a good offense, this scheme envisioned a swift and daring series of preemptive strikes into American territory. Flying columns of Canadian troops would be rapidly deployed to seize key strategic locations south of the border: Seattle, Great Falls, Minneapolis, and Albany. The aim wasn't conquest, but rather to create enough disruption and leverage to deter a full-scale American invasion. Once resistance stiffened, as it inevitably would, the Canadian forces would execute a strategic retreat back across the border, meticulously destroying bridges and railway lines to impede any American pursuit. It was a David and Goliath strategy, fueled by a fierce sense of national pride and a healthy dose of anxiety about their powerful neighbor. The sheer audacity of these plans is staggering. These were not abstract intellectual exercises. They were detailed operational blueprints, drawn up by the highest levels of military command in nations that publicly espoused friendship and cooperation. It begs the question, if these supposedly civilized nations could harbor such aggressive intentions towards their closest allies, what dark machinations were being plotted against those they considered adversaries? The existence of these plans casts a long shadow over the idealized narrative of unwavering transatlantic unity. It's a stark reminder that beneath the polished veneer of international diplomacy, the primal instincts of national self-interest often lurk. America, the boisterous leader, was ever vigilant, its gaze sweeping across continents for potential threats, even from its friends. Canada, the loyal companion, nervously twitched, its own survival instincts kicking in with a surprisingly bold counterplan. And England, the seasoned diplomat, coolly calculated its options, even if it meant making hard choices about its global commitments. They were, in essence, the ultimate frenemies, sharing trade agreements and diplomatic niceties by day while secretly mapping out invasion routes and calculating casualty figures by night. The very existence of War Plan Red and Defense Scheme Number 1 serves as a sobering testament to the enduring complexities and inherent distrust that can simmer beneath the surface of even the closest alliances. It's a historical head-scratcher, a bizarre chapter in the annals of international relations that makes you wonder just how many other contingency plans are gathering dust in the secret archives of nations around the world. Can it be concluded that world events are rarely random? What is your stance on this? Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, we invite you to join us on the next one. We encourage you to share your valuable feedback and tips in the comment section below. Thank you for your likes, shares, and comments.